ask him to bring me tickets? You ask him to bring me tickets?
I suggested he might want to consider it. Totally up to him.
You want to do this? Let's get some tickets away.
Well,
Somebody was telling me it's $25 to get in the door.
You're going to be the heavy, not me.
Oh, I know you're a wimp.
That's right. I'm the wimp. You're the heavy. That's the way it is.
Thanks, Chuck. Thank you. Is it fixed? Is it fixed? Is it fixed? Welcome to the Autosport Radio.com 2019 show. I'm your host, Don Kay. We are live from McGilvery Speedway at 30th and High School in the beautiful town of Speedway, Indiana. Tonight's show is presented, as always, by Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the NTT IndyCar Series, and SVRA. A couple of things to mention. First off, my good friend Fred Jones had a birthday on Saturday. I think he's 82 or 83 and still up and walking, doing well. If you haven't been aware, the 9th event of the season is this weekend. The NTT IndyCar Series schedule will be at Road America at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Practice will start on Friday and it'll be streamed live on NBC Gold if you have it. But you can go to racecontrol.indycar.com and get the audio as well as timing and scoring. The practices are on Friday, will be streamed, and the qualifying will be live on NBC Sports Network, and the race on Sunday at noon will be on the NBC Network. So the next race, right around the corner. Don't want to miss it. Tomorrow is the VP Insurance Agency golf outing, benefiting St. Baldrige Foundation to conquer childhood cancer, and according to Mike Pardee, they are making great progress in that. It'll be tomorrow at the Woodwind Golf Course or Golf Club. It's located at 2301 116th Street in Westfield. You can give them a call to sign up. It'll be a lot of fun. It's a good event, and VP has been sponsoring it for the last 8 years. Number is 317-669-8550. Your favorite doctor visit is something you need? You got to see your dentist. Love it, don't you? Well, you can. Go see Dr. Jack Miller or Dr. Liz Lewis at the Indy Dental Group. They will take care of you, and they are fantastic. Make an appointment. Number 317-846-6125. And if you're anything like me and have computer problems, which I have on a regular basis, Jack at Computer Overdrive can help you. Give him a call, tell him the problem. He'll tell you what he can do and when. Number 317-328-0766. My first guest is a gentleman who was kind enough to come in here quite frequently, and I thought it was time to talk to him again because he got the Air Force sponsored car, drove for Andretti Autosport and the Indianapolis 500, and he finished 10th. Then he got a call to go to Texas, and he finished 11th. Why? Nobody has realized this young man can drive a car. We're here to find out. Please welcome Connor Daly.
Thanks. Thank you.
I think it goes without saying, and I followed this guy around on several racetracks. If he isn't the most popular driver, he ain't far behind whoever is. I'm telling you, it's amazing. In fact,
well,
the young
thank
lady,
you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Remember the gal that I brought up to you in St. Petersburg? You were standing outside the hospitality, and I came. He won't talk to me. I say, I will too. Well, he's busy. Well, then wait. So he posed for a picture. He talked to me. It was great.
Well, I had nothing else to do either. I was pretty bored that weekend.
So how you doing?
I'm okay. Yeah, just I think the Indy 500 hangover was ended with Texas, thankfully, but now it feels like it's the Texas hangover. You want to race again immediately, but then you're not. So it was nice to be able to get right in at Texas and just do something again because after Indy, I was just like my blood was boiling and I had so much fun. So as soon as we were in Detroit, we were like, how are we going to do more races? So and then. Trevor had been slowly sneaking information to me about there could be a potential opportunity to drive one of his cars, and then obviously after Detroit, it became a reality. So that was cool. But now, we're back to square one. Just try to figure out. We got a lot of Air Force people this weekend in Road America, so I'm going to go up there and do my job. With those guys, and I'm on the way up. We're going to do an appearance for these guys, the guests, biogas people, and Capstone Turbines. So they obviously support Andretti. They support Colton Herta, and they're expressing interest in supporting me. So there's a lot that we have to do, but that's part of it, and I hope it works out. So we'll see. There's a lot of good stuff, but yeah, it's still tough to be in that position of that we are in.
Yeah, but the thing that intrigues me, and every time I see it, there was a rating was out yesterday or today, I can't remember which, where they rated the teams, and at the bottom was the team that you drove for. Yeah. And at the time you drove for them, you were the best they had, and we're making improvements, and you're gone. I'm wondering if somebody isn't sitting and saying, we might want to get him back again.
Well, I mean, I guess, thankfully, the reason I was there is the reason I went to Harding last year, too. I mean, they needed an opinion. They needed some information. They needed to, make steps in a certain direction. And I think we were able to do that. Although we had an hour and, 2 sets of tires, which was really difficult to do. But I like the Carlin guys. I mean, they are the tough thing about that group is it's all guys that have not been in IndyCar before. So there's no one like an Alan McDonald or like a wise old engineer that's been in IndyCar for 100 years that's gonna tell them, hey, this is actually how we do oval setups. It's actually not like that, and they have a different philosophy about it, and it's not wrong. There's plenty of ways, I was just talking with someone last night. It'd be really interesting to put one driver in all 33 cars just for one session, just to see how different every single one is. Because I thought it was like I was driving a different car, like a different style of car. It was very different. But obviously, there's different ways to generate grip. There's different ways to generate, a certain balance in the car, and they have a certain opinion on it. And I obviously just came freshly off of one of the best teams and the best cars that there was out there. And so, I led them in a certain direction, and I think it was good, but, you had one session, then you qualify, then you go race. So the race was like a test session for us. And honestly, it was great working with those guys. The race was a lot of fun. We were way not as bad as I thought we were going to be. So I was sort of enjoying driving by people, and I was like, oh, this is not actually going that bad. And yeah, at the end, it was just fun to be sort of in semi contention for a decent day, and that was that was the whole goal, is to just try and do something good, and then be able to obviously they're going to have races to fill as we go, but yeah, that still undecided, but that was the goal, is to just show up and do as best as well as we could, and see what happens from there.
Well, I think if the driver backed out, Max Chilton, because who was the other driver? I think he drove for Brian Reinbold that crashed big time at the Speedway, and he said, that's enough of the ovals for me.
Oh, Mike Conway?
Yeah. And if Max is concerned, it's a good idea to get out, because he could not only hurt himself, but he could hurt somebody else as well.
Yeah, I mean, I respect the decision for sure. I mean, Max is cool. I mean, I know Max. I've known Max for a long time. And his whole family are great people. Obviously, he's super invested in racing and that team in general. So yeah, I mean, I respect that. I mean, it's like a reverse Ed Carpenter type situation. You know what I mean? Like, it's, Ed does the ovals because that's what he likes to do, and Max is going to do the road courses because that's what he likes to do. So, I respect it for sure.
I think it would look neat on the car to have Gallagher Air Force combined.
Yeah, the Air Force is out of money, so it's a one-time deal for them for sure.
Air Force is out of money. I mean, all these guys that got the uniform on aren't going to get a check. Oh,
well, racing with Andretti is quite an expense, so that was the one goal, and that's what we got. It would be great to have any sponsor on a car, that's for sure. But yes, Air Force, we got to just focus on 2020 with them for sure.
And the team I was referring to that you did well for and left was not Carlin. I was talking about the one who's rated last, with 2 drivers that can't get out of their own way for whatever reason. Obviously not the talent, they've got that, but anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember
that
him.
one team.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor guys.
14 and 41 number, I think they are.
Oh yeah, that's a shame.
It had to be kind of a challenge to get in a car you'd never been in with a team you hadn't driven for, an IndyCar. A different engine. How different? Could you tell the difference between a Honda and a Chevy?
Oh yeah. I can't tell you about it, but I can tell you there's a difference. But like it's weird. Like as we think about it, like I don't really know if anyone has been in a situation like me in the last like 20 years. I don't remember. Like I paid really close attention to IndyCar like as I grew up, like really close attention. And there were some drivers obviously that like, would change teams every now and then or something, but I really don't think there's been anyone who has like jumped around in a very like 3-year time span like that I have. It's crazy, and I don't want to do that. Like it's really hard. But that's the thing is I don't think people realize how difficult that is. Like if you get in a different team at Indy every year, yeah, okay, well you have 2 weeks to sort it out. But like if you get in and you have an hour to sort it out and like jump in, I mean they're a totally new team. There are some things that they did not even know about yet when it comes to just like small electronics things on the dash, things on this, because they just didn't have that. They're new. It's a new team, and I really respect the effort that they put in. All those guys are young, really hungry mechanics, like really good people. Like I don't know if you noticed on the Carlin team, all young guys, like really young, motivated, like people, which is really cool because I think that's, it helps a lot, in the long run when days are really long and stuff like that. And they do a great job, but it's just like it takes 10 years, to get to where Andretti's going to be at or something like that. And it'll take a while, but I give them a lot of credit, and I would love to drive for them again because I think, continuity is cool, I've heard, and it would be nice to do another weekend together, because then maybe we could work on something that we wanted to work on as soon as Texas was done.
How about a 2-hour session?
Yeah, I don't care what it is, honestly. It's crazy.
Is Trevor getting discouraged at all?
No, I don't think so. I think the Texas was super encouraging for them. I think he's in a bit of a difficult spot, I think, right now. Obviously, I mean, this game is a business, as we all know, and it's tough to make work. And he's got to keep both of those cars, running for the full season. The Gallagher car is covered, obviously. That car is, fully funded. But the other car is certainly in question, and he's doing everything he can. I think Patricio's done a great job. There's no question about Patricio being really talented. I think that's there's no doubt about that. But there's a lot of talented drivers who don't necessarily have the mass funding behind them. So it's tough to make that work. But I think he's doing the best he can right now, and I think hopefully we gave them a good bit of information to take to the next oval, Iowa. Even though Iowa is very different and terrible.
Oh, you don't like it?
I hate Iowa. Yeah,
oh, really?
I hate it.
So in other words, if he calls you and says, "Listen, can you
I'll
make
do
it
it,
to Iowa?"
yeah.
Oh.
But he has to pay me though. That's yeah.
In case nobody has seen it yet, Patricio will be at Road America with Carlin.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just announced. I think I just saw it today. So he will be there, and you will be there.
I will be. Yeah.
Observing.
Yep.
And you've got a lot of road racing experience, and you can go either way, oval or street and road course, because you've done them.
Well, apparently I'm an oval guy now, which is really weird. I never really expected myself to be in that position. They were like, "Yeah, Connor, we really wanted you on the oval because you've done a great job and you've been really consistent." I was like, "Oh, thanks. That's kind of weird. I've never really thought about that." But all my results since like 2017 have been like on ovals, which is oddly weird. But I'll take it. I mean, I love road and street courses, and I know, like, if to get in an Andretti car like at a road course, that's what I'm really craving right now, because it would just be. I mean, with how amazing that car was at Indy, I was like, this is unbelievable. I have to see what this is like at another track. You know what I mean? That would be nice.
And can you imagine that he put 5 cars on the show, and you were kind of an add-on, and you had a phenomenal car?
It was awesome, honestly. It was a great. I just sat down with my engineer from the 500 just yesterday. We were going through the event again, just to kind of look at everything, and it was just such a nice experience. The whole month was just fun. It was obviously tough for a little while. You're trying to figure things out, and even though it's a great car, like you're gonna struggle. You're not gonna be as fast as you think you can be. And then, when it got to like the Thursday and the Friday, like I was really like mad because I was like, well, Thursday, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I know our car is faster than, like, we ended up like 17th every day. And I was like, this is ridiculous. We haven't gone out and like got in this big tow and set this fun lap that everyone looks at. They're like, wow, those cars must be really fast. And like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just, if you get a big tow, like, that's great. But our car was actually getting better and better. And then by the time we got to Friday, it was just like, all right, well, we happened to be in the right place at the right time, and we went like really fast, and it was crazy. But I knew the speed was in the car, and so I was like happy to finally be like, yeah, I think this is where we could have been really most of the week, but we didn't set that big, fancy PR lap. But it was really cool to be able to do that, and like the team. I mean, my mom was crying. It was just practice where she was like so happy, and I was like, I'm happy too. This is pretty fun because I was 33rd the year before. And that was way less fun. And it was, it was a wild experience to go from, last to first on Fast Friday. And then obviously qualifying weekend was, was really way more enjoyable again. The car was so fast. I mean, we were, 0.1 of a mile an hour from making the Fast 9, which is ridiculous. And it felt like it too. It felt like that was the first qualifying where I felt like I was like, whew, that was fast. And like I was really on the limit of like, it was like it felt like you were actually driving on the limit and gaining something rather than driving on the limit just to barely survive and make the field. You know what I mean? So it was like really rewarding feeling, and it was just everything about the whole month just was something you always dream of. And we should have Michael keeps telling me we probably should have finished third, but I was like, well, sometimes hopefully we'll get another shot at it. You know what I mean? So it was fun.
And of course, from time to time, strategy plays into it.
Yeah.
As we have seen. But the thing that always impresses me, like you were saying, the race has been over, and here you're still meeting and going over it. Andretti doesn't miss much.
No.
Your input is important to them as from Hunter Ray.
Yeah, well, the funny thing was, as soon as the race was over, my car was painted yellow, and Ryan used it at Texas. So he was leading the whole race, and I was like, oh, that's neat. So it was a good car that we had, but thankfully Ryan's got it now, and that's good for the team. You know what I mean? It's good for them, and the group is awesome. I love working with Michael. Michael was great. My engineer Andy was like just an incredibly talented human who is going to be a race engineer for a very long time. For some really good drivers. Hopefully, I would like to be his driver at some point again. But it was a great group to be involved with, and all the mechanics and the pit crew for that that one-off entry. They do that every year for that car, which is really cool, and it's a really solid group of people.
Well, it just amazes me, and there are drivers looking for rights who are talented, but to me. And I have to admit, I don't stalk you, but I do sit back and watch.
Thanks.
And the crowd reaction, the fan reaction to you is phenomenal. You are good with people. You're good in public. You're a hell of a good driver. I mean, everything that a sponsor would want is sitting right here. Right?
Thank you. Well, the important thing is that the partners that we do have are very happy. The Air Force loved it. Obviously, they had such an incredible flyover that people loved, and so there was so much. Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. I was talking to that guy like 3 days earlier too, and he's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be sweet." I'm like, it always is, but how can you make it even better? And they're like, "Oh, just wait." I'm like, "All right." And I think they definitely broke laws doing some of the stuff that they did, but it doesn't matter. It was just. This is America. It was great.
Yeah, but Speedway couldn't have caught him anyway.
Yeah,
so
Doug was fine with it, I'm sure. He was cool. But yeah, the Air Force are happy, and I think they had such a great weekend, and just it was great having them all there, and having General Levitt at the banquet as well. And then obviously, we're trying to do more and more, with these guys, Guest Biogas and Capstone Turbine. Those guys are obviously investing a ton of money in motorsport right now with Colton, and Colton's obviously done an incredible job for them. And it would be great to be a part of that program if they expand that. But yeah, it is hard. I had a lot of people. There are after Indy this year, it did seem to move the needle, like where it was like, all right, there are more people that are trying to help, but it is still, I promise you, the hardest thing to do in the world. It's so hard to sell motorsport. It doesn't matter if you have all of the things that you think you should have for a sponsor, because it's still a lot of money, and you got to have the right person say the right thing at the right time to the right CEO, the right CFO, or whatever, and everyone has to be in agreement, and has to be a little bit of like, well, we might just enjoy this too, you know what I mean? Because it's not going to work out on paper. I mean, it does sometimes work out on paper, but like it's really hard to make that happen. So it's obviously Andretti has a lot of partners that make it work, and that's why I'm trying to get in that system. Like, Andretti makes it work. They have really good partners. They do. And the Air Force make it work. So if we can find more people like that, or at least have a little bit more, then I think there is a good shot at being heavily involved in the series again. But Andretti's full next year. You know, I mean, they have 4 full-time drivers, and that's hard. So it's where do you fit in if you do happen to trip over the winning lottery numbers? You know, where do you? I think if there is enough money, there is potentially the opportunity to create another entry. Harding obviously has the ability to run 2 cars, and that's essentially part of Andretti. So that's, that would be great. But yeah, we just take it day by day and see what happens. My goal is to just do more races before the end of the year, and hopefully in the 25 car, but we'll see.
I think if anybody can make it happen, he will.
Thanks. I appreciate that. We're certainly working. I mean, I had a meeting. I had a meeting at 11 a.m. the Monday after the 500. So I was literally like right back. I was like, hey guys, how's it going? Here we go. Trying to work on the rest of the year. So we don't stop, that's for sure.
Well, unfortunately, I don't know if you remember, but a number of years ago when Al Jr. was going to retire, he said, this is the first time in my entire career I've had to try and find money. I've never had to before.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but it's still, what happened this May and like what happens at Texas makes it so worth it. It's such a great sport to be involved in, and it's very much like a drug, and I love it. It's just, the series is so good, the racing is so great. I like racing against those guys. I like the satisfaction for beating some of those guys is really cool. And yeah, that's why we keep doing it. I mean, I've been fighting for many years to do this at the highest level, and Andretti was the highest level, and that was very cool. And so you want to do that again. So I think it taught me a lot more as well as a driver. I think it helped me at the Carlin situation for sure. And hopefully we can do more in the future. I mean, Michael says he's trying, and JF, I talk to JF, those guys all the time at Andretti, and I'll be with them again this weekend. So hopefully we can just continue to beat down doors and figure out a way to make it all work.
Well, it seems to me the secret these days is networking, getting companies in that can network with others that are involved in it. That makes it a little bit easier and more palatable. Plus, you wine them and dine them, or hospitality, bring them in and kind of show them the inside, the back door of what happens and how it works and how you got to where you got. So it's just a matter of getting everything, like you say, the right guy at the right time, and the CEO says, hell, this could be fun, let's do it.
We'll see. I mean, I think the best part about this year was that, like, even people who have hated me on the internet were like, hey, actually, I think you did okay. And I was like, all right, well, if you start turning people that actually hate your life on the internet into people that respect you, it's like, all right, that's good, because it was a fun day at the whole day at the 500. You're just like, yep, this is way more fun than like surviving. Like, I saw Penske cars all day, and I was like, that's fun. Like, that was a great thing. And like, I was with Alex, and I was like, hey, if Alex is pretty good here, and it was just fun to drive around with him the entire day. So it's way more of an enjoyable event when you're at that end of the grid.
What's it like? You and Alex are very good friends.
Yeah.
You and Hinch are very good friends. What's it like when you're racing with him and you want to get around him, and you don't want to put him in the fence, but it's your pal that's up there and you want to get around him?
Well, I mean, there's no friends when you're out there, right? It's just how it is. I mean, Alex the whole month actually was definitely a little bit of a different person as when we were teammates, right? Because it's, I think he's always heard, every time I got out of the car, like last May, it was like,
you will not believe what I just survived. And he's like, oh, tell me about it. And I was like, because he's never experienced that, right? He started with Andretti and has been with Andretti. So for him, he's like, it's a much different experience at Indy. It's a way different experience because he's always, he's been with the great team. And for me, I've never been with a good. So he's like, I can't wait till you see what this car is. And then after the first few days, I mean, we were in good shape, and it was really cool to work with Alex. And like he likes a different car than I do. I couldn't drive his car for sure, but like to end up being like essentially the two fastest Andretti cars for most of the race was cool because like we did it in different ways, and I think that I think the team saw that, and that was kind of cool. And but yeah, to race with him, obviously. I know he was fighting for a championship, so I had to be sort of careful about that, obviously. But I would have happily, I was happy to follow him to the front, and we were moving that way. He certainly was all the time. If we didn't have our issue there at the end, we would have been right there with him. But it was cool to see him doing the work that he does because I do think he's very, 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 very good. I think he will get another 500 for sure, and then potentially more because he's going to be an IndyCar for a very long time.
It's interesting that you mentioned that you couldn't possibly drive his car. People don't really realize there's such a thing as a driving style, and yours can be one way and his can be. Because I've had guys or been on a team where somebody got out of a car and having trouble, so they get in the other one. Said, "Good God, no wonder."
Yeah,
I couldn't drive this car in a bet.
Yeah, I mean that's part of why we do what we do, right? That's part of why that's part of why I guess. Like a team like Harding or Harding last year at least, like that's why, I have a certain technical like mindset when I sort out a car that I need. But I think some drivers struggle to have that. Some drivers don't actually know what they want. They're just like, well, I'm going to get in, and if it's good, great, and if it's not, I have no idea what to do. And that's my dad wrote about it in his book. Like there's a certain style of driver, and like sadly, I think TK like is one of those guys, right? Super, really good driver, obviously, champion, Indy 500 champion. But I think he'll always tell you that like if he had guys, super technical guys like Dario as his teammate or like any of the Andretti guys at the time, he would always benefit from those guys, right? And then I think right now he's struggling because he has had a rookie as a teammate and he doesn't know what he wants out of a good car either. He started at Foyt, Mateus did, and that's tough. Like that's really hard. I know. And like, but how do you go anywhere? Because like that's all they have is a certain. A certain direction, and that's really difficult. So I think you have to know what you want in these cars, and you have to be able to, work with your engineer at a very high level to get there. But there are so many things you can adjust on an Indy car that you can get there. Sometimes, it takes. That's why we have 2 weeks at Indy because we're changing stuff every day. But to be honest, not as big things as I've changed before. We rolled off the trailer pretty solid, and it was like small changes, but you make those changes every day as you go because the grip level changes, the weather changes, and so as long as you go through enough changes that you find the best ones for the race day, which as we talked yesterday, I think we were a little bit off, but we're talking. Should we have finished third or should we have won? You know what I mean? So like that's crazy. We obviously weren't going to win because I think Simon was always going to win that race, but it was really cool to be able to talk at that level. It's like what did we need to win the race rather than what did we need to like finish 15th?
Well, I know everybody sitting here listening says, "Geez, we hope we see him at his favorite track, Iowa."
Yeah. Oh boy. Yikes. Yeah. At this point, I thought Texas was going to be horrific, so Iowa could be great. I don't know. Iowa could be a dream.
Well, I know everybody in this room and most people watching tonight live would say, we want to see you back in the car.
Thank you.
You deserve to be in a car. You've shown that you have the talent to be in a car. So hopefully everything falls into place for you. And if you have to take Zach Veach's method,
going to church?
Who could I talk to?
I do that already. Yeah. Mom brought me there all the time.
So ask the guy on your way out, shaking hands. You know anybody that might like to get involved? It worked for him. You never know.
Hey, trust me. I ask everyone. You have no idea. We're working on a lot of stuff.
Oh, good.
I cast a wide net.
Well, it's unfortunately what it takes today, but slowly I notice more and more drivers are not having to bring any because teams are starting to pick it up like Andretti.
You've seen that? I haven't.
I have. Well, look at Andretti. He's got stuff all over everything.
Well,
He's
yeah.
doing okay. I don't
Yes.
see. I don't see Roger out, passing a hat to run his cars.
Well, Roger doesn't need to do that.
I know.
Roger's
coming
happy
slow.
as can be,
Oh, I'm sure he is.
and I respect that program a lot.
17 500 wins. Good
He
grief.
does a good job. He
Yeah,
does a
he's
good
got a heck
job.
of a team.
I've seen it.
I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank
We
you.
wish you nothing but the best and want to be looking forward to seeing your name listed on the entry list the next Oval.
Who knows what car it'll be? Yeah.
Well, as long as you're entered
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll
with
take
a
it.
with a good team. Let me ask you: if somebody comes in with a team that that they're not decent, would you take the ride? Would you turn down a ride because it's going to make you look bad if you don't do well?
Like a full-time ride?
No, just right now.
Well, I mean, everyone thought it was sketchy to take the Carlin ride, and we, finished 11th with it. So I was really. I think I almost felt better about that than I did at Indy. You know what I mean? I was like, this is something where it was like it was really tough, and driving wise, it was a lot harder than Indy. So like to be in the top 10 most of that day, and like 8th to 11th ish, that was really fun. So I don't know. I mean, at this point, I would consider everything, obviously. I think because there's another team that I've known for a long time that's trying to put me in a car, but if I drove 3 numbers in 1 year, that would be really interesting. But it's certainly possible. So I don't know. I think after Indy, I feel way more confident to just get in anything, because why not? Because Indy went well. People see that. That's the only race that really matters to these teams. Like, they look at everything else as essentially nothing, because I've had good results everywhere else or most other places, and that's never mattered. But Indy was really the one that was like, all right, this is going to move the needle. So we'll see.
Well, and having driven for Trevor Carlin in Europe, he's got a good organization. He knows how to win. Just takes time to put the organization together and get it done.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Those are good guys. I like them a lot. I like Trevor.
Well, we look forward to seeing you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And keep an eye on. He's going to be back. You can be sure.
I
Connor
think so.
Daly.
I think so. Thanks.
My next guest is sitting out here. He's probably been signing autographs and just posing for pictures, and he'll be working his way up here. He's a little slow, but he'll be here. And if it's time to check your insurance for your home, your car, or your commercial property, do what a lot of people have done, and I have done, is call Mike Pardee at VP Insurance. He's located at 5004 West 16th Street in the beautiful town of Speedway, Indiana. Give him a call. He can help you. And when he sells you insurance, he doesn't say, call so-and-so. He will help you with whatever your problem is. So give him a call. Number is 317-248-0070. And if you ever wondered what do these guys like about these cars, why don't you find out? Take a ride in a two-seater, the Indy Racing Experience. It will be a thrill of a lifetime. So go to their website, IndyRacingExperience.com, find a date that works out for you, and you can sign up for it. And in the promo box, put SJ1. You get a 50% discount. So check it out. You'll love it. I have never had anybody get in a car that didn't say, wow, I want to do it again. And several people I've got rides for are doing it again. Are you needing some work done, some embroidery or some on anything, shoes, hats, jackets, shirts, whatever it is? Call Stitches too. Fran loves to talk to you. You can see what you got and tell her what you need, and she will take care of it. You can reach her at 317-271-3444. And if you're a vintage racing aficionado, this weekend, the 20th to the 23rd, is a Mid-Ohio Sports Car Road Course, the 2019 Vintage Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio. You want to see the SVRA cars and everything that's going on? Get over there and see it. It'll be worth your while. And if you want to find out what's going on in the world of Trans Am and the vintage racing, go, subscribe to the Speed Tour magazine. It's fabulous. You'll love it. Go to svra.com and subscribe. It's a great magazine. Everything you want to know about vintage racing, it's there. And if you want to take a ride, 6 to 8 people, and tour some race shops, Stephanie and Bill Throckmorton have owned the Grand King race shops, and they've got a limousine that'll take you on a ride. And you visit some race shops, Their number is 317-820-3959. And if you have a car you'd like to have restored, they are doing it all, from chassis to engines. If you need it done, they can do it. 317-820-3595. Tell them what car you got, what you want done, and they'll take care of it. My next guest is a gentleman that's spent a few years behind the wheel of a race car. Most of the time, have been open wheel cars. He's been doing it now for about 24 years, and his total collected feature victories to date, as I understand it, is 125 now. Is that right?
Pretty close.
Pretty close. You won Saturday, so from 124 to last.
Well, I would say that was 26 instead of 24.
All right, so
round up instead of down. Dog.
That's right. Okay. I'm sorry. This guy has been in everything. He's won in everything. He's never wants to talk, so I'll probably have to pry it out of him. But please say hello to the guy who's a real character, but a hell of a race driver, Aaron Pierce. So I heard when I was up in Daleville.
You had it right the first time.
Some guy comes up to me and said, some guy you know drives a sprint car. He was on the first lap, he got spun out and broke the brake line. So he was in last, and I said, what the hell do you need brakes for? He said he didn't. He won the race from last to first. You're still competitive.
Yeah, I mean, that was a deal where, like, my little 500 car, we've had that happen, trying to overcorrect. Try to overcorrect, and then you got to back up for a minute. Kind of like that, except different. But we've changed our left front caliper fittings to a banjo fitting on my little 500 car. Well, this car that I've been running, this non-wing stuff, is my wing car. Well, you don't usually have that issue, so everybody slammed on their brakes, and I kind of slowed down, and I got hit from the back, and I turned the car right, and it broke that brake line fitting, and it flattened the left rear tire. So I rode around, and we didn't even go a lap, so they went back to the previous lap, which there wasn't any. So you can't change a right side tire, but you can change any other tire. So I pulled up to the work area and put a tire on, and they gave me my spot back, which surprised me myself, but I took it,
Nice guy.
Right, but and I ran the whole race with no brakes, but I ran the outside the whole time, and I knew I could not. So I had rear brakes, so which is none, pretty much. The rotor is this big, but it happened to work out. We got really lucky, and it wouldn't have been as close of a race as it was if I would have had brakes, because I wouldn't have had to baby it. And when Tyler got underneath me, like with 3 laps to go, I kind of guarded the bottom and ended up making it. If it had been a couple more laps, I don't know what would have happened. But
what got you started racing? I mean, what, McDonald's wasn't hiring, or what got you into racing? Did your dad ever drive?
My dad drag raced a lot.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well, how come you aren't a drag racer?
It's boring.
Well, I know that, but aside from that.
So boring. You can't, like Cruz Petragon. He likes to go to the Chili Bowl, and he likes to do that, but he drag race first. You can't oval race and then drag race. It's boring. Just, we got a Copo Camaro that we ordered, and we got it going at the drag strip, and I went out and drove it, and was like, this is fun. Can we go to the speedrome, please?
No,
10 times as fun.
I don't want to say anything about the speedrome and driving a pace car.
I've wrecked it. I wrecked it there.
I know.
We can bring that back up. I've been. You know what? I was just telling Andrea that I've been coming here for 19 years with you. I don't know why.
I don't either.
But
is that smile I see back there behind?
Yeah, probably.
Why does she hang around with you?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. I thought I'd just cover that. Good luck. Was she a race fan originally?
You know what?
No, I don't. That's why I asked.
Her dad taught me how to fly airplane.
I'm sorry, you fly an airplane?
I'm capable.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm capable of it for sure.
Is there any chance you'd be coming into Eagle Creek Airport?
If I did, it'd be a little hot.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm afraid of, because if you came in from the north, I live south of it, and you might be in our backyard.
No, but I mean, that's, we really never even had met each other before, and her dad, taught me how to fly and flew us everywhere, and then we kind of met, somewhere
Up in
else.
the air. Oh. So, you've driven USAC. You're in the Advanced Auto Parts Sprint Car Series. You've won that championship twice.
Auto Value.
What the hell did I say?
That's way different auto parts store, Don.
Oh, I'm sorry. Auto Value.
That'd be Auto Value. That's like AutoZone or O'Reilly's.
Yeah, but it's different.
We need to get you a print-off sheet so you can read it all right.
Actually, I have it, except I didn't bring it with me. I've got one somewhere. I don't know where it is. You are also now running with Tony Perella in the Trans Am Series.
Yes, Chris Santucci, which is anybody that knows Roger Johnson, Carl Edwards, Silver Crown stuff. Ricky Stenhouse ran out of Memphis. Chris has kind of got out of the Silver Crown stuff, and I kind of got myself involved. This is why I kind of got a giggle while you were talking about the two-seater deal. You see, it just gave me chills, the two-seater. Because I volunteered to be the test dummy in a two-seater, a race car, though, not for going on test laps. So anyway, I got the Trans Am ride. Chris Santucci called, and I worked at Bondurant for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of advanced road racing stuff. And you know what? I really never did any road racing. I did some go-kart stuff, and I got the job out there, and I really liked it. And working at those 3 tracks at the school kind of got me onto the whole road racing thing. Regardless of what track it was at, I still got onto the whole thing, and I had to teach people how to do it. That was a hard thing for me to do, was to teach somebody else how to do it. You can explain it to them, and you got 10% of the people that you even have a chance of teaching. The other half, the other 25% think they know how to do it, and then you got the other whatever percent that is scared to do it, as far as any of it in general. So deciphering that and figuring out who is what in that category, they called and said, hey, we got this guy. He's wanted to run Trans Am. He's ran some SCCA stuff. He's 62 years old. What school should we send him to? And I'm like, well, why do you guys want to send him to a school where he's going to drive a street car with street tires? Why don't you put a second seat in his race car, and my dumb ass will come down and ride with him, and then drive him and get him, on the right page. So that's what we did the first year, and then everybody got along really good, and he was adamant at first when I got down there, because he'd raced at his track a lot, his home track in Memphis, and I was like 3 seconds faster than his laps, and then he was like, oh, okay, I will listen now. Grasshopper. So I rode with him, and we did a lot of that stuff together, and at the end of that year, he said, hey, do you want to race too? Hello? McFly. So he went and bought another C6R Corvette. I've been running it for 3 years. I won the first race we went to at Road America. I had a 40-second lead at Road Atlanta in the rain. I'd never raced a car in the rain. I drove like an idiot in the rain. You know what I mean? But never raced in the rain. But it's just been a really cool deal with those guys. And that's, here's what's sad is I hear Connor in here, and it's the same story I've heard for 19 years: is money, 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 talent. Everybody's got talent, but no money, and it's this and that. If Connor's still here, if he wants to try the little 500, I got a couple of them cars too. It's way cheaper.
And it pays what, $35,000 to win, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But I mean, it's like I said, it's the same story, and I lucked into that deal. I don't pay a thing to go and run that Trans Am deal. You know, it started raining at Road Atlanta, and I walk out, and the guy that owns all the stuff, he says, "Hey, if you can win in the rain, I'll give you the whole purse." I had a 40-second lead, and the alternator went out. I wanted to puke. But anyway, I got lucky by being able to do that, and it's hard to come by.
You know, aside from the Trans Am, you run primarily open wheel. And you run your own. You've got your own cars. You drive your vehicles, and you lease them out on occasion and work with drivers. Have you worked with a driver that said, "Wow, this guy's good," or gal, whoever it might be, and they've moved on?
I mean, you know, really not someone that was just overly. Here's the hard thing, is being able to do both. You know, I can build a shock, I can set the car up, I can halfway drive it. You know what I mean? But I can try to do both. That's the hard thing is, and I hate to say it, and I hope he's not listening, but a good person example is Billy Weiss. He's a badass driver. He's really, really good. And you know Billy, you know what I mean? But he can't, if you had to ask Billy, hey, what would make it better? He couldn't say a stiffer spring or this or that. And that's what's hard to come by is both of those deals. And I've been lucky enough over the last 25 years to have to figure that out myself. I've had a lot of help from people, you know what I mean? But nobody wants to tell you stuff when they got to race against you.
And do you get a chance to test your cars before you go to race? I mean,
We try to, but you know, a lot of the times they have a 14-day test rule or whatever, which that doesn't do anybody any good. If you're going to have a 14-day test rule, that means, you know, you and I got to load our stuff up and go up 2 weeks early, make a trip, you know, buy tires, whatever, drive back to, say we're going to Wisconsin, you know, 6 hours one way or the other. They should make that more open to where you can get 6-7 guys together and say, hey, let's rent the track. You know, let's all go test. You know, no closed test. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to tell you anything anyway. All you're going to be able to do is see the speed. But it's.
Have you ever considered, you know, working for McDonald's or Burger?
Every Sunday on the grill, and I'm glad I don't. I'm just very fortunate to be able to do what I do and make a life out of racing, and my dad loves it, and that's pretty much all we've done together. So
yeah, it's interesting. And when I was up and talking to him as I was leaving town, he said, you know, I've got one dream. I said, yeah, what's that? I'm going to come back and be his son. I said, oh boy, that should be interesting.
Yeah, he's got a couple ass whoopings involved.
You know, what is it about racing that keeps you going? I mean, you've been doing it for close to 25 years.
It's just like Connor said. I mean, it's like a drug. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's addictive, just like anything else, you know.
Is there any track you liked really well, like the Speedrome? You always did pretty well at the Speedrome until you got a pace car. Then you didn't do so good. But
I liked it after that. It just made it more fun. I didn't like it after they repainted the wall. The big red 35th anniversary mark was still on there from that Camaro.
Yeah, and it was the Miller's race in honor of their son, and you're driving a pace vehicle, and bang.
Well, you remember Billy Shipman was riding with me.
There's the problem.
He was the one that did it.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. What's he doing? Is he flagging or doing anything?
You know what, I don't know. Last interview I saw was Jack Hewitt. I didn't know if he's been back flagging since then or not.
You know,
but I saw Shipman somewhere a few months ago. I can't remember where it was, but he's doing good. He still laughs about all our old speedrome stuff. And
Does he ever mention the fact when somebody come by and a chunk hit him in the head and knocked him out of the flag stand?
did they throw something, or was
No,
it
no,
a
it was
rock?
off the car. It was a rock off the car. Hit him and he fell out of the. He knocked him out and he fell out of the flag stand.
He never told me that story. But,
Well, he's probably not that proud of it particularly, but
right.
well, what haven't you accomplished in your racing career that you'd like to? I mean, perhaps the 500 win would be one.
I mean, I've always wanted to go and run Indy cars and all that, but it's the same story all the time. And if you've seen the article on Rico, he just went, and I know a lot of people that were involved with him transitioning from a late model or from a midget to a late model. He couldn't drive a stick, nor could he reach the pedals, obviously. It's not a joke. So they had to build all that stuff together,
Right.
And when you go from not being able to drive a stick at all to learn how to drive a stick and trying to do pit stops and all that, and then the money it takes on top of it to do it. In the article, he says, I'm not going to ask my parents to spend their hard-earned money for me to go do that. I have more fun doing what I'm doing. And that's kind of where we're at. We've already went and did that. We know how much money it takes, and we don't want to. It'd be nice to have a sponsor, just like the Air Force or whoever, to be able to do that. But it just doesn't happen anymore. It's just hard to do.
Well, you've got several sponsors. I don't know how big they are, but you have 2 or 3 more in addition to some Chevy dealer up in.
They've really
Dale,
been
Texas.
consistent sponsors. Longevity.
That's what I said. They've been around for a while,
Yeah.
and that obviously helps. And I feel sorry for your dad. He's got out in a tent in the rain selling cars to keep this program going.
He likes the tent sale.
I called
He
him
would
after-
not. Why? Now wait a second. Let me ask you this: why would you move 550 cars a mile down the road? Does that sound fun?
He woke up and they were gone.
No, because for some reason you move them down the road that far, and they think they're cheaper. I mean, now some of the stuff they'll make deals on that's been there for a while, but it's been like that since we've been doing that tent sale. You move them down the road, and it's like traffic picks up like that, rain or shine. We were laughing the other day. I said, "How'd you guys do the other day?" He said, "Well, we sold 12 in the rain, and it was nice the day I asked him." He said, "We didn't sell nothing today." He said, "Go figure." So
That's what he told me. I was up there. I said, all these cars, and they're everywhere. I said, how did you get them there? He said, it took about 2.5 hours to move 550 cars. Oh, geez, we had 25 or 30 guys. Boop, boop, that's done. So,
they hire drivers every year to do that tent sale thing, and they've done it for a long time. It's been real successful, and
and I said, how's business? It was sold 10 cars today. And then I talked to him the next day. He said, when the sun come out, gone.
yeah, exactly. But they do a great job, and obviously I couldn't do any of the racing stuff without my dad, and we've tried to make it into a business. With the driver development stuff that I was doing with Joey from Mississippi, he ran a few races, and it didn't look like my driver development was developing him any. So we had to take a break from that, and it's the same deal. You have people coming up, and it's the same thing as what's going on in Indy. It's a pay-to-play deal, and if you don't turn it into that business, I mean, look at Keith Koontz. You go to any midget track, and if you think them cars are sitting there for less than $10,000 a piece, you're dreaming.
Well,
And I think the last time I seen the last race, there was 13 of them, so that's $130,000 a night.
and if
We
you
need to buy some midgets,
can you
and not little short people.
not the one with a little arrow? Do you rebuild your own engines?
You know what? We started an engine deal in our own shop because we got sick of buying stuff that we weren't getting. You pay for a set of valve springs, you expect to get a $800 set of valve springs. You pay for a $900 set of intake valves, you expect to get them. Well, when you get a motor back and it's supposed to have this or that, and you're smart enough to take it apart and look, so we kind of started doing all that engine stuff on our own. And Evan Jackson, which has started his own engine shop. He got so busy doing our motors and motors for other people and working on all my race car stuff that he had to kind of do his own deal. So Evan, he still builds all my engines, and we've had a lot of success with him. And it's what it is and what you get. If he sells you a rebuild and you don't like what it says, he really don't want to do it. If it needs lifters and this and this and this, that's what he's gonna sell you. He's not gonna sell you something you don't need. And that's kind of the way we've got involved with Evan, and he's really, really had a lot of success. And he's a good asset for us, and we've been an asset for him too.
Now, somewhere in the audience, someplace, is a gentleman that I'm looking for. I don't see him, but is he here? Well, don't. Chuck is pacing around. I'm getting nervous. I'm going to have to buy him a new pair of shoes. This gentleman joining us, I have seen and heard.
He's got a Bloomington Gold shirt on. I've seen him before.
That's right.
I've heard of this Bloomington Gold, and I thought it was a band. I thought, what the hell, Bloomington Gold? What is that? Maybe it's a song, no? It is a Corvette club out of Bloomington, Indiana.
Close. Try
That's
again.
in Illinois, yeah. And this gentleman is the owner and president of the series, and they'll be in town this weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I thought we'd bring him up and talk to him about it, and when I mentioned to Aaron that Corvettes, I like those. Please welcome Mr. Guy Larson.
Thank you.
Just for your information, my dad used to drag me to Bloomington.
Cool.
In
Bloomington,
Illinois,
Yeah.
to the Gold.
Yeah.
Every summer with maybe
in the
4 or
dust
5
field.
Corvettes on a rollback, and made me sit there all weekend.
Yeah.
It was worse than drag racing.
No, that's fun. You got it all wrong.
So how did you get into this and think it was so great you had to buy the damn thing? Or did you start it?
No, we're in our 47th year, and I'm only 45 years old, so that.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Something like that.
I
But
don't know. So what made you want to buy it?
that's an interesting question. You ask any
I thought so.
car guy how they got into Corvettes, how they got into Mustangs, how they got into whatever they like. And I've done a lot of that. And usually it goes back to some early age. And mine was going back to when I was probably 5 or 6, and my brother was 2 years older, and my uncle came over with this weird little 2-seater car. In the somewhere near 1960, Corvettes weren't real common, and my uncle, who was the cool uncle, came over. My brother and I both sat in the front seat easily because we were little kids, and he took us for a ride, and I'd say that's where I got hooked, and everybody gets hooked at a different point. Then in high school, sometimes you have like an older brother or a brother's friend or somebody's got a cool car, and it picks up more and more, and then you get old and you get done with your kids and you can buy some of those cars. So, but actually, after I got out of college, I bought my first Corvette when I was 21 or 22, and I've had a few.
I see. Have you raced?
Not anything like that. I've gone to racing schools, Ron Fellows Racing School, stuff like that.
Yeah. When you got done, did you go out on the track, or did you get a license? Did you ever race competitively?
No.
What the hell did you go to school for?
Those schools are actually pretty fun, and if you get.
Can you
these,
imagine going to school and you climb in a car and he's sitting next to you? Go, oh, you got to be kidding me!
Yeah.
Hey, I usually had a lot of compliments in my compliment box because we all had fun every time. So.
I knew he'd say that. So, what is it about Corvettes that you built this organization? I trust since you've had it, you've built it. How many members have you got?
Well, it's not so much about a membership thing. In fact, the show this week, we get 4,000 to 5,000 cars. We get 20-some thousand people attend over the few days. And you don't have to own a Corvette. You don't have to be a member. You just come over and enjoy
Well, yeah,
it.
I understand that. But how many Corvette people are part of your organization, roughly?
Well, our mailing list is thousands and thousands, but we don't charge people to be associated with it. We do have what we call a gold membership when you're there, which is really just like a VIP package when you attend a show for a weekend. So it gives you all the bells and whistles, but that's not that's not what it's all about. And the other thing I try to do is I try to explain that we're not really a car show is really the wrong word. It's more like an event because we have car judging. We have national level car judging, very intense, very high level judging. We do about 100 cars, but about 5,000 come to the show. The rest of them are anything anybody wants to bring. You don't have to have a special car. We get we get a few hundred cars that come and do autocross. We have autocross going on. We let people take their everyday cars around the oval and do laps, which people from not around here think you guys probably all may have done that at some point, but people from out of town think it's the coolest thing in the world. And we do several hundred of those. People go out with those. And we do a road tour on Saturday night, which I wanted to let you guys all know. We're headed down. We're coming we do one lap around the track, and then we head down through Speedway and south, and come around, and we end up in the downtown part of Speedway this year.
Is this lap around the track monitored?
Yeah, they monitor a lot. Yeah.
I know where there's some Corvettes.
Really?
You should bring your C6R and do a lap around it. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm going to warn you. You get going out there, you might put a little crease in the wall.
In the wall? A crease in the wall, that's harder to do.
So we have other things going on. We always have a special collections of cars, which is a feature that we do. And if you're into like really rare cars, this year we have a collection that's called the Sharks, which is 1968 to 72 Corvettes. They were designed to look like a shark. When Bill Mitchell was the design engineer for Chevrolet, he was an ocean fisherman, and he caught a shark, and he decided to have his designers design a car like a shark. So if you go back and you look at a 68, 69, especially the front, the fender kind of comes up and it slopes down to a point like the front of a shark. And this is a true story. They're designing the thing, and he wants to make a mock-up for the prototype. So they got a clay model car built, and he tells them he puts the fish, the stuffed fish. He says, paint the car to look like the fish. So they keep painting it dark blue on the top, medium blue, silver on the bottom, like a shark. And he come back, no, you guys can't get it. So they paint it like 3 times. He goes away on his trip. They paint the fish to match the car. So they take the same paint, they paint the fish. Comes back, he goes, perfect. So we are honoring the Sharks. So we've got 45 really, really rare cars. I'll just rattle off a couple. We've got a few L88s, which are rare. We've got a ZL1, which there were 2 built. It's an aluminum block L88 out of the factory. Really huge car. We've got the Manta Ray design car, which Chevrolet created. There's 2 Manta Rays. General Motors is bringing the Manta Ray that became the Shark model. That's going to be on display. And I could go on and on.
Let them know what an L88 is.
L88 is a factory-built race motor that was put in 1968, 69, 67, 8, 9 cars.
So it's 427.
427, rated 430
horse.
horse, and it's really about 550.
Right. They had to.
None of them had radios in the car. Most of them had no heaters. They didn't have deflectors around the radiator. They lost weight everywhere. It was just supposed to go fast. And last year we had an L88 gathering. We had 46 of them, and they range from $500,000 to about $15 million in value.
Yeah, I just remember my dad having some L88 stuff when I was real young. He had a white one with blue interior and a blue stinger on it, and they talked about how rare it was. He sold it at Barrett Jackson. He knows where it's at, but we probably haven't seen it since. But I totally know what you're saying.
And if you go to autosportradio.com and look on tonight's program, you'll see the cars he's talking about, the picture. I can't put a picture on Facebook. I have a clue how to do it, but it's on my website. You can see the cars he's talking about that will be on display. Do any of these cars go out and go around the track at speed, or
Yeah, we did it last year, and we're doing it again this year. Something we started. We took the L88s out. And these, mind you, these cars are millions of dollars, and we got 30 some out of 45 out on the track. This year, we're inviting all the cars out, and I haven't gotten clearance yet, but I think Chevrolet is going to let the Mako Shark go out and lead the parade, and that will be quite a sight.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
The car is functional. It can drive in it. The guy said it's no problem doing it.
Well, that's nice to know. It's nice. Yeah. It'll get to the corner, it'll turn all right and all that stuff.
Hopefully, right? That'd be kind of messy.
You say nobody has to pay to enter. You could just bring your car.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
No. We're not a non-for-profit. It's $25 a person to get in.
Yeah, but I mean the cars.
Cars are fine.
That's what
we don't charge by card. It's
That's
personal.
what I was going
They
to.
charge for women and children.
Yeah.
Children under 12 are free.
Your Corvette's free.
So, for $25, what comes with that?
$25, you can come in, you see those collection of cars. There's about 200 vendors selling anything from nuts and bolts to frames and car lifts, spray systems.
A lot of
anything
restoration parts. I mean,
restoration.
Just all kinds of stuff.
Lots and lots of stuff, right? And then we have cars for sale. We have some dealers selling cars. We have a used lot, and there's some pretty cool cars. There's a couple 63 split windows, if that means something to people, with those in the lot. We have seminars. We've got a couple people from Chevrolet that are pretty high up in the design of the new car that's coming out, and they are going to be there to speak about how the development of the new car is. They won't talk about the new Corvette yet.
You're talking about the one with the motor in the back.
Yeah, they've admitted that. That's about all they're admitting. So it's a very top secret kind of thing. So it's a mid-engine car. Yeah. We've got that. We've got seminars. We've got autocross. We've got the laps. We got the road tour. There's a lot.
Now, he's not listening. He's probably dozing off. Is Chuck bringing a car there?
Don't know.
Oh.
He's shaking his head yes back there.
Oh. Is Ms. Mitchell out polishing it as we speak? Getting it ready? Oh, with the cars in Michigan? Oh, well,
She's in Michigan.
I guess you'll be polishing the damn thing. Is this what you do now? Do you work Monday through Friday and you do this at night and on weekends, or are you full-time into this?
Pretty much full-time into this. I had a swimming pool business for 30-some years that I sold.
Oh, really?
But I was always into Corvettes. So it's kind of
Might
fun
as well
to
dive right in.
Yeah. I could put that on the back of the trailer. Nobody else would know what it meant, though.
You mentioned the split window. There was a Japanese guy, I think, that designed that. And
Shinoda.
Yeah, because I worked with him on a couple of IndyCar race teams.
That was a slant
Good
window.
guy. Well,
not
whatever,
split.
whatever it was, I can't remember. But I said, where did he come from? He designed the '64 Corvette. You're kidding? What the hell's he doing here? He's great.
He also ended up working at Ford with the, what did he design at Ford? Something big.
Yeah.
After he left Chevy.
Yeah. Quite an interesting guy. Really was. Is this the only show you do a year, or what? For lack of a better
We do
word?
another event in. Event. We do another event in Charlotte, North Carolina. If the name Rick Hendricks means much to people.
Who?
Ricky. No, I shouldn't say Ricky. That was his son. Mr. Hendrick. They call him Mr. H.
Yes.
We do it at his motorsport compound, not at the dealerships or something, but where the 4 NASCAR buildings are, his training facility for the drivers and teams, and he has this collection of cars. So
Oh, really?
it's
Amazing. He has
he
a
has
collection of
a
cars.
few cars, about
He's got a bunch
600
of
in
cars.
his
Yeah.
collection.
Oh, jeez. He's got more than Ray
It's
Stillman.
always
then.
changing, though.
Oh, of course. I mean, his dad's got cars, but right price, go on next.
In 1967 Corvette, he's got one of every color in coupe, one of every coupe big block, and one of every convertible every color convertible big block.
That's nice.
And all of them are top level.
I guess if you won 7 championships, you can afford to buy a couple cars. Yeah.
He also owns about 150 car dealerships.
Man, what a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
One's enough.
It's a beautiful facility. So regardless of his wealth, he's a nice man to us. He's very hospitable. The grounds are beautiful. His collection is open to the people who attend our show. It's free to get in there. He won't let us charge anything. He provides all of it, and it's free to go in, and he opens his car collection, which is closed to the public most of the rest of the year.
Does Ray Skillman have any Corvettes? I'm not sure. I think he does, doesn't he?
Ray Skillman's got an array of stuff.
Yeah, he's got a whole bunch,
he's got a bunch of different stuff.
including a merry-go-round or whatever you call that thing. He's got that. He bought it from the Speedway.
He's got some Dodge stuff, some Ford stuff, some
He's got a lot
some
of
Chevrolet stuff. I mean, he's got a lot of different old muscle car stuff.
Well, and it starts when? Friday?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Is there any big, gathering at night, or you have to go down to someplace down in Speedway and have a couple schloops?
Well, Saturday night we're going to do a little tour. It ranges how many cars we got. The last couple of years we've been somewhere around 800 cars, and they're going to dead end in Speedway. It's a competitor to this place, but it's the Woods restaurant. They're going to hold. We're holding a beer garden there.
Huh. Look at the parking lot here. You could put.
Yeah, we'll go there next year. We'll go north.
There you go. Anyway, now, where are you this weekend? Are you going to be here, or are you racing?
Well, Thursday night is a 125 lapper to Anderson, and then Sunday night I'm pretty much planning on going to win my first race at Winchester.
Oh, that's right. That's the old timers weekend. Are you considered now an old timer?
Evidently, and I know the car that I'm racing is an old timer.
It's
Kenny
not yours.
Orwin drove it, Dave Steele drove it, Ryan Newman drove it, so it's like a 95 or 6. I think I could go run vintage races with it. That's what I'm planning on doing. Cherry picking.
Is it your car?
Yeah, it's our car. We went and tested last week. We're really good. Wing cars non-wing cars haven't been there in 10 years. So, I mean, should be awesome. So, I mean, if they get a good turnout of people in the stands and good turnout of cars, here's the whole thing is that you got 5 guys or 8 guys that love the place. And you got 25 guys that hate it. So you're going to get 13, 14, 15 cars. You're going to have a 5-6 car race. I mean, it is what it is, but they need to have them back there. And, they need to race at that track. I mean, you can't run one race a year there and expect anybody to want to go over there and watch. Next year we'd like to see a Silver Crown race the night before the Winchester 400 when they run all the street stocks and all that under like 100 lapper. Everybody's already in the parking lot. The fans are already there. The people that are going to actually come. And USAC's we've talked about that a little bit. Hopefully they're on it. Charlie's all about it.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, Winchester, it needs to, you can't run one race a year there. It's horrible.
The funny thing is, some of the biggest names, as they were coming up, what was the worst track for you? Winchester scared the hell out of me. But I was there the day that Sarah Fisher set the record in a midget.
And she was over there last week when we were testing, and Kyle O'Gara was running the car, and Sarah was there, and I was just trying to give him some pointers because they have one of our engines in their car. And I told Sarah, I said, you should make it look so easy. Why aren't you telling him what to do? And she was like, well, he doesn't listen to me. So it was pretty funny, but the kid does a good job, and it's cool to see Sarah going back and doing that. And they just have fun doing it. I saw Dave, her dad, at the little 500. Dave used to work for me after, Sarah was already racing Indy cars and all that. We had a hell of a time, Dave and I did. Well, I seen him over there. I told him, I said, I'm going to have that motor back tonight. You know, they qualified like on the outside of the second row or something. I was like 22nd. Like, I'm gonna have to have that motor back tonight. He's like, no, you're gonna have to come get it in Ohio next week. So, but really cool people, a lot of fun and a lot of history racing with those people.
Well, it's always fun to have you here. It's been too long, and I saw
Rick's Boathouse.
We went to dinner, and we're walking out, and I see this guy walking on. I thought, what in the hell are you doing here? It's a long way from Daleville to here for a sandwich.
I live in Fishers.
Well, I didn't know that. And I said, you got to do it. Yeah, sure, I'm always available on Tuesday. I said, okay. My number is the same. Some guy answered the phone. He said, will you quit calling here? This isn't his number anymore. Oh. I said, I'm sorry. Bonehead told me he's had the same number for years. Apparently the years is like 3 as opposed to 20.
Probably more like 5, but it's probably been that long since I've been on here.
Probably. Well, you're busy, you know. And this nice young lady, are you going to leave her and come here? No.
I did tonight.
Well, she's here, though.
She showed up after me. She drove herself here.
You mean you
that didn't mean I'd leave her, but...
You mean to tell me I'm going here if you want to come drive yourself?
She had prior engagements. She
probably had to work for it.
Yeah, she had to work. Is what she was doing.
How many days a week do you go up to the race shop?
Try to go every day. I mean, today we went up and went to the Gertie auction up at Rochester. Lot of stuff up there. We went up there, my dad and Bill Reevely, a guy I used to drive late models for, and probably going to try to go back tomorrow. Some other stuff we want to get, and then like Thursday's the 125 lapper at Anderson. Then Friday is payday, and then Saturday is preparation day, and then Sunday, if you want to get a load of what you need to spend 30 days, go on the AP tour for 30 days. Don K and AP. It could be a reality show. Seriously. I think Don, he'd be like Survivor. He'd be giving up. He'd have to eat something crazy or something.
You mean to tell me on Saturday, instead of going to the show, you're going to be... What are you buying in Rochester? Is it a race sale?
At Gertie. Gertie Engines is selling everything they have.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there is so much many engine parts and just 3 dynos and cam profiling machines, and I mean, just think of everything Earl Gertie has come up with since the 60s. It's all there.
And you're going to buy some of this stuff to work on your own?
I bought an oil pump today that was $1,200. I bought it for $300. I was proud. I'll sleep good tonight. That's the only thing I left with, but...
Your dad was proud too, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. He said, man, he stole that. That's always a good sign.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come here. It's been a long time since we've chatted. I looked up your bio and good grief, you've been around a while. You run a lot of races, and everything except with the fenders.
You know what? I've been running some late model stuff too, and then Corvettes have fenders.
Yeah, I know.
So that counts. But I try to keep myself busy, and the Trans Am stuff is the fun deal that I've done in a long time, as far as.
And it's getting bigger. Tony's building that thing.
Yes, for sure.
Really.
For sure.
Is your car owner going to some of his other events that they had where they just run Trans Am?
I mean, we go to all the Trans Am stuff. I mean, he has LSI Racing is Logical Solutions Incorporated is a company that makes anything round with a label. So that Coca-Cola cup right there, anything, the light bottles. Think about anything around with a label. He has the patent on the machines that do that, on the automation that does it. So that and anything with flavoring sprayed on it. Any food with flavoring sprayed on it. So Pringles, Doritos, Mini Wheats, any cereal, he has the patent on the sprayers and the equipment that does all that. And then he makes a machine that if you're in a high-rise hotel and they have a problem with their elevator, they bring Larry's machine in and they plug it into the wiring harness and it troubleshoots all the wiring and
they're into so much stuff, and that's the guy that owns the Trans Am stuff, and he's endless opportunities. I wish I would have met him when I was 18. I might have been able to run a couple IndyCar races.
Well, you're not over the hill yet. Foyt ran until he was
45.
Yeah, but Foyt ran until he was 50. You got 5 or 6 years yet.
Yeah, for sure. 5 or 6 at least.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming. It's been a long time, and I think everybody enjoyed listening to you again. They think you're probably...
It's always nice to come down here, and I see all the same faces. I mean, all you guys for so long. It's awesome. Come down and get a welcoming like that, so thank you.
And for you, you start Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Where do you buy tickets?
Right at the gate.
Oh,
We've got a few race cars on display in that group, too, by the way. We've got the 68, 69 Owens Corning race cars. There's 2 of them. They've never been together since they raced in 69. They're reunited at our show this year. We've got Penske Sunoco Camaro, real rare car. And next to it, we've got a not very well-known car. It's a 69 Camaro ZL1, which were a rare car. There were 68 or 9 of them made in 69. This is an original owner, never been titled on the street. It's always been a race car. The man's 80-some years old. He told me, he said, I got to park pretty close to where you want me to sit with the car because I can't walk too good. He goes, but I can drive. He goes, I'm doing 3 races this year. I can push the pedals, and I'm racing. He's 80-some years old. He still races
That'd be me,
the car. So there's a
I
couple
can't
pretty
get there,
cool race
but
cars.
I'll drive it.
There's cool
Can't
cars.
walk, but I'll drive it there.
Well, I appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you for asking us.
And said, get out there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can see obviously some fabulous cars, and the ones he was talking about. He said, go to Autosportradio.com and go to the Autosport show, and you'll see this week's program. You'll see his. What were you mad about in the picture I picked up? You were going to hit somebody. Good grief!
What picture are you talking about?
The one I put
mean,
on
where are
the
you getting
website.
these
Google.
pictures and videos from?
From Google. I look up Aaron Pierce, and I said, oh, and then up it comes.
I would have to see what you're talking about,
Okay,
Don.
well,
You're very judgmental at times about
Do you
the attitudes and what you think is going on.
do you know how to work a computer? Huh? Do you know
What's
how to,
that?
You know how to work a computer?
Yeah.
Well, then look up my website and go to Autosport Show and pull it up. You'll see it.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Remind him, because he'll forget.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Aaron
Don.
Pierce,
everybody.
Guy Larson. Appreciate it. And if you're lucky and you go out there, you might see Chuck. Now, it's not a for sure. Are you going to be there for sure? Where are you? Oh, is he still? Oh, there he is. You're going to be there? All right, I won't go. Okay, thanks. Oh, you did say you were going to get a golf cart, though, so we could tour around. Oh. We will be here next week somewhere. I have several people. We're talking about guests, but then this week when they leave.
That's serious, not pissed.
Oh, yeah? But anyway, a couple of things I had set up. Unfortunately, they're testing at Mid-Ohio. So we'll have a program. We'll have some good guests. It probably won't be like Slick Willie back there, but we'll do all right. So until next week, thanks for everybody for being here. Thanks for showing up, seeing on television. Till next week, good night.